you.
My accomplices in starting World War III. Thank you.
They did the Iran deal. Okay, I mean, she wasn't there for that, but she started it, and that avoided World War III. So you got to give her credit for that, too.
Thank you all very, very much. Thank you for that amazing welcome. Thank you all for the great convention that we've had. And Chelsea, thank you.
Say something nice about her.
I am so proud to be your mother and so proud of the woman you've become. Thank you for bringing Mark into our family and Charlotte and Aiden into the
Hedge
world.
fund manager.
And Bill, that conversation we started in the law library 45 years ago
is now over.
It is still going strong.
I wonder why they're chanting that. Was it?
Why do you think?
Because there was a Bernie chant.
I'm gonna guess there was
Yeah.
a war or something.
I didn't hear it.
You know, that conversation has lasted through good times that filled us with joy and hard times that tested us. And I've even gotten a few words in along the way. On Tuesday night, I was so happy to see that my explainer-in-chief is still on the job. I'm also grateful to the rest of my family and to the friends of a lifetime. For all of you whose hard work brought us here tonight, and to those of you who joined this campaign this week, thank you. What a remarkable week it's been.
Is that a reference to the Sanders supporters who joined the campaign this week?
That might be what it is.
I think so.
We heard the man from hope, Bill Clinton, and the man of hope, Barack Obama.
Now let's hear the woman of something.
America is stronger because of President Obama's leadership, and I'm better because of his friendship.
Maybe you don't want to split those two up.
We heard from our terrific vice president, the one and only Joe Biden.
Man, the crowd's going nuts.
He spoke from his big heart about our party's commitment to working people, as only he can do. And First Lady Michelle Obama reminded us that our children are watching. And the president we elect is going to be their president, too. And for those of you out there who are just getting to know Tim Kaine,
All right, Tim, calm down.
They're matching.
you will soon understand
he looks so happy.
why the people of Virginia keep promoting him from city council and mayor to governor and now senator. And he will make our whole country proud as our vice president.
I'm sorry that I'm going to comment one more time on the outfit.
me.
But the outfit gives me such a fresh feeling. Like it's a great selection, and she looks wonderful
Is Terry McAuliffe
Bernie
the governor
Sanders.
of Virginia?
right now. Yes.
He looks happy.
We just
Look at
missed
that.
Like,
That guy is overjoyed, huh?
Sorry.
Right? Look how happy he is.
She referenced him.
He's so happy. He did the right thing. Look how he knows he did the right thing. He's so happy. Look at that. Look at that.
Bernie, your campaign
That is a-
inspired
Hold on, Jimmy,
millions of Americans, particularly the young people who threw their hearts and souls into our primary.
And I crushed it.
You've put economic and social justice issues front and center where they belong. And to all of your supporters here and around the country, I want you to know, I've heard you. Your cause is our cause.
It's a good line. Obviously, we're a little skeptical, but it's a good line.
Our country needs your ideas, energy, and passion. That is the only way we can turn our progressive platform into real change for America.
Those are the right lines.
We wrote it together. Now let's go out and make it happen together.
I'm being told the chant was Hillary cheats.
Ooh.
My friends, we've come to Philadelphia, the birthplace of our nation, because what happened in this city 240 years ago still has something to teach us today. We all know the story, but we usually focus on how it turned out, and not enough on how close that story came to never being written at all. When representatives from 13 unruly colonies met just down the road from here, some wanted to stick with the king, and some wanted to stick it to the king. The revolution hung in the balance. Then somehow they began listening to each other, compromising, finding common purpose. And by the time they left Philadelphia, they had begun to see themselves as one nation. That's what made it possible to stand up to a king. That took courage. They had courage. Our founders embraced the enduring truth that we are stronger together.
Now, I'm a big believer in compromising. That's how life works. But it's hard to get behind it as a political idea and slogan. It doesn't have a lot of energy.
Now America
And they
is
also
once
didn't
again
compromise when
at a
they did the
moment of
revolution.
They left.
Yeah.
Powerful forces are threatening to pull us apart. Bonds of trust and respect are fraying. And just as with our founders, there are no guarantees. It truly is up to us. We have to decide whether we will all work together so we can all rise together.
A lot of emotion seems lacking here.
Yeah,
I
so
agree.
far, so far.
Our country's motto is E pluribus unum. Out of many, we are one. Will we stay true to that motto? Well, we heard Donald Trump's answer last week at his convention. He wants to divide us from the rest of the world and from each other. He's betting that the perils of today's world will blind us to its unlimited promise. He's taken the Republican Party a long way, from morning in America to midnight in America.
Ooh, that's a line people remember.
He wants us to fear the future and fear each other. Well, you know, a great Democratic president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, came up with the perfect rebuke to Trump.
There's
more
nothing
than
to
80
fear but
years
fear
ago,
itself.
During a much more perilous time. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
I like that she's pointing out that they are running a campaign based on fear.
Now, we
People
are
want me to vote for her out of
clear-eyed
fear. That's
about
ironic.
what our country is up against. But we are not afraid. We will rise to the challenge, just as we always have. We will not build a wall. Instead, we will build an economy where everyone who wants a good job can get one.
Jacob
and we'll
Soboroff.
build a path to citizenship for millions of immigrants who are already contributing to our economy. We will not ban a religion. We will work with all Americans and our allies to fight and defeat terrorism. Yet we know there is a lot to do. Too many people haven't had a pay raise since the crash. There's too much inequality, too little social mobility, too much paralysis in Washington, too many threats at home and abroad. But just look for a minute at the strengths we bring as Americans to meet these challenges. We have the most dynamic and diverse people in the world. We have the most tolerant and generous young people we've ever had.
That's pandering to the millennials who supported Bernie Sanders.
They are actually very generous in terms of charitable giving. They are.
Military,
certainly tolerant.
The most innovative entrepreneurs, the most enduring values. Freedom and equality, justice and opportunity. We should be so proud that those words are associated with us.
Okay, there was a Bernie chant. I don't know what it was, and now the Hillary chants to drown it out. This speech so far, I got to keep it real. That's my job.
I have to
Low
tell
energy.
you, as your Secretary of State, I went to 112 countries. When people hear those words, they hear America.
You know what?
So,
I'm going to rule against
don't
this.
let anyone tell you that our country is weak. We're not. Don't let anyone tell you we don't have what it takes. We do. And most of all, don't believe anyone who says, I alone can fix it. Yes, those were actually Donald Trump's words in Cleveland. And they should set off alarm bells for all of us. Really? I alone can fix it? Isn't he forgetting troops on the front lines, police officers and firefighters who run toward danger,
That's
doctors and nurses who care for us, teachers who change lives, entrepreneurs who see possibilities in every problem, mothers who lost children to violence and are building a movement to keep other kids safe? He's forgetting every last one of us. Americans don't say, I alone can fix it. We say, we'll fix it together.
It takes a village.
This is sort of the power that the party in power has in doing their convention after, that they get to respond directly.
Remember,
Yep.
our founders fought a revolution and wrote a constitution so America would never be a nation where one person had all the power. 240 years later, we still put our faith in each other. Look at what happened in Dallas after the assassinations of 5 brave police officers. Police Chief David Brown asked the community to support his force, maybe even join them. And you know how the community responded? Nearly 500 people applied in just 12 days. That's how Americans answer when the call for help goes out. 20 years ago, I wrote a book called It Takes a Village.
Didn't I just say that?
And a lot of people looked at the title and
I
asked,
alone could say that.
what the heck do you mean by that? This is what I mean. None of us can raise a family, build a business, heal a community, or lift a country totally alone. America needs every one of us to lend our energy, our talents, our ambition to making our nation better and stronger. I believe that with all my heart. That's why Stronger Together is not just a lesson from our history. It's not just a slogan for our campaign. It's a guiding principle for the country we've always been and the future we're going to build. A country where the economy works for everyone, not just those at the top.
I don't
Where
know.
you can get a good job and send your kids to a good school, no matter what zip code you live in. A country where all our children can dream and those dreams are within reach. Where families are strong, communities are safe, and yes, where love trumps hate.
This is like designing a speech around slogans.
Around what?
Slogans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stronger together. It takes a village. Love trumps hate. Fill in the blank.
That,
Tastes great, less filling.
that's the
It's
country we're fighting for.
Eat fresh.
That's the future we're working toward.
And if we
And
do
so,
it,
my friends,
this
it
will
is
be the
with
happiest place on earth.
humility, determination, and boundless confidence in America's promise that I accept your nomination for president.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't actually sure she was going to do it.
Could you imagine? She's like,
But
I can't do it. I can't do it. Bernie, come on
so
down.
sweet of you.
Come on
so
down.
Sweet.
Bernie Sanders, come on down.
But obviously, she just got the new job. I'm the new spokesperson. I'm the new Colonel Sanders. Look at my outfit.
Oh, here we go with the outfit. See, I told you from the beginning people would talk about it.
The Huffington Post.
I alone knew that.
Huffington Post is going to do an editorial about this now.
Now,
About us. Remember when Barack Obama wore that tan suit? I'm still thinking about it.
Oh, yeah, he did once.
Yeah. Oh, it's a scandal. Fox News went crazy.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
now sometimes,
So we're hard on him too.
sometimes the people at this podium are new to the national stage. As you know,
She's in
I'm
the
not
hall.
one of those people.
They're apparently going to run with that.
No.
I've been your first lady, served 8 years as a senator from the great state of New York.
One day they're going to say mediocre. The mediocre state of South Dakota.
Then I represented all of you as Secretary of State.
Not the Secretary of Hate.
But my job titles only tell you what I've done. They don't tell you why.
Oh,
The
this is going to be
truth
the most
is,
insincere
through all
part.
these years of public service,
Uh,
the service part has always come easier to me than the public part. I get it that some people just don't know what to make of me.
ooh, okay.
uh-oh.
All
So
right.
let me tell you,
Uh-oh.
Fuck
the
off.
family I'm from, well, no
I would
one
actually
had
kind of
their
admire
name
that.
on
She'd have
big
my vote.
buildings.
Yeah.
My family were builders of a different kind.
Let me tell you.
Builders in the way most American families are.
Bilderbergs, right?
They used whatever tools they had, whatever God gave them, and whatever life in America provided, and built better lives and better futures for their kids. My grandfather worked in the same Scranton lace mill for 50 years.
That poor son of a
Because he
bitch.
believed that if he gave everything he had, his children would have a better life than he did.
This
And he
is
was right.
boilerplate
My
political
dad,
speech.
Hugh, made it to college. He played football at Penn State and enlisted in the Navy after Pearl Harbor. When the war was over, He started his own small business printing fabric for draperies. I remember watching him stand for hours over silk screens. He wanted to give my brothers and me opportunities he never had, and he did. My mother, Dorothy, was abandoned by her parents as a young girl. She ended up on her own at 14, working as a housemaid. She was saved by the kindness of others. Her first grade teacher saw she had nothing to eat at lunch and brought extra food to share the entire year.
Wow.
The lesson she passed on to me years later stuck with me. No one gets through life alone. We have to look out for each other and lift each other up. And she made sure I learned the words from our Methodist faith. Do all the good you can for all the people you can in all the ways you can, as long as ever you can.
My grandmother, who lifted me up like that, had a nickname, Goldman Sachs.
So I went to work for the Children's Defense Fund, going door to door in New Bedford, Massachusetts.
Oh, no, you're kidding. She worked for the Children's Defense Fund, Jen. I'm with her. I had no idea. Why don't they bring this up?
To go to school. I remember meeting a young girl in a wheelchair on the small back porch of her house. She told me how badly she wanted to go to school. It just didn't seem possible in those days. And I couldn't stop thinking of my mother and what she'd gone through as a child. It became clear to me that simply caring is not enough. To drive real progress, you have to change both hearts and laws. You need both understanding and action. So we gathered facts.
It really
we
is.
Built a coalition.
This is like a parody of a boring political speech.
Convince Congress to
It is a
ensure
parody. It's like all those
access to
cliches.
education for all students with disabilities.
It's not a parody of a boring political speech. It's just a boring political speech.
Every kid with a disability has the right to go to school.
Because the parody would be funny.
It's laying out the value system, blah, blah, blah. There should be policies attached to the values.
How do you make an idea?
The values are all
like that
liberal and
real?
progressive.
You do it step by step, year by year, sometimes even door by door. My heart just swelled when I saw Anastasia Somoza representing millions of young people on this stage. Because we changed our law to make sure she got an education. So it's true. I sweat the details of policy, whether we're talking about the exact level of lead in the drinking water in Flint, Michigan, the number of mental health facilities in Iowa, or the cost of your prescription drugs. Because it's not just a detail if it's your kid, if it's your family. It's a big deal. And it should be a big deal to your president, too.
I want to give it a fair hearing. I don't know. I'm really bored right now. Maybe speeches don't matter, though. We'll talk about that later.
This convention,
Bump is going down
you've
as we
seen
speak.
some
Bump
of
is
the
going
people
down.
who've inspired me. People who let me into their lives and became a part of mine. People like Ryan Moore and Lauren Manning. They told their stories Tuesday night. I first met Ryan as a 7-year-old. He was wearing a full-body brace that must have weighed 40 pounds because I leaned over to lift him up. Children like Ryan kept me going when our plan for universal health care failed, and kept me working with leaders of both parties to help create the Children's Health Insurance Program that covers 8 million kids in our country.
She's regurgitating the whole lineup of the
Lauren
DNC,
Manning,
all the people who
stood
spoke.
here with such grace and power, was
She's too
gravely
meticulous.
injured on 9/11.
Don't worry about
It was
that.
the
Give
thought
us
of her
Very
and
much like
Debbie
Chelsea.
St. John, who you saw in the movie, and John Dolan and Joe Sweeney and all the victims and survivors. that kept me working as hard as I could in the Senate on behalf of 9/11 families and our first responders who got sick from their time at Ground Zero. I was thinking of Lauren, Debbie, and all the others 10 years later in the White House Situation Room when President Obama made the courageous decision that finally brought Osama bin Laden to justice.
He sent Chris Christie over there to eat him.
And in this
That's so
campaign, I've
random.
met many more people who motivate me to keep fighting for change. And with your help, I will carry all of your voices and stories with me to the White House. And you heard some from Republicans and independents who are supporting our campaign. Well, I will be a president for Democrats, Republicans, independents, for the struggling, the striving, the successful, for all those who vote for me and for those who don't, for all Americans together.
Damn it. I'm going to have to criticize this speech. I actually don't want to, but
It's
People
not a
are
good
already-
speech. It's not a good speech.
People
There's-
are already angry at me for criticizing it because they're saying it's
We've
historic.
reached a milestone in our nation's march.
It might be
toward a more
historic, but
perfect
that doesn't
union.
mean that it's a
The
great
first
speech.
time
Yes.
that a
Agreed.
major party has
Hey,
nominated
I'm rooting for her to pull off a good
woman
speech. No
for
shit.
President.
I'm rooting for her to be a better candidate. I'm rooting for her all the way.
look, I can't have Trump win. I can't have it.
Yeah, I mean-
so I want her to win.
Yeah.
But so, like, they think we have like an ulterior motive. Like, what's our ulterior
Right,
motive?
Arthur-
It's such a shitty situation. It's just, it sucks.
We
It
need-
sucks.
Standing here,
We'll
standing
go over
here
it.
as
Yeah.
my mother's daughter and my daughter's mother. I'm so happy this day has come. I'm happy for grandmothers and little girls and everyone in between. I'm happy for boys and men because when any barrier falls in America, it clears the way for everyone.
Can I see it?
After all, when there are no ceilings, the sky's the limit.
That's the line. Oh, they planned that line.
So let's keep going. Let's keep going until every one of the 161 million women and girls across America has the opportunity she deserves to have.
Wow.
Wow, right?
Here, let me see that one more time. We'll talk about this,
Even
guys, in a
more
minute
important.
after the speech.
Then the history we make tonight is the history we will write together in the years ahead. Let's begin with what we're going to do to help working people in our country get ahead and stay ahead. Now, I don't think President Obama and Vice President Biden get the credit they deserve for saving us from the worst economic crisis of our lifetimes.
That's true.
Our economy is so much stronger than when they took office. Nearly 15 million new private sector jobs, 20 million more Americans with health insurance, and an auto industry that just had its best year ever. Now, that's real progress, but none of us can be satisfied with the status quo, not by a long shot. We're still facing deep-seated problems that developed long before the recession and have stayed with us through the recovery. I've gone around the country talking to working families, and I've heard from many who feel like the economy sure isn't working for them. Some of you are frustrated, even furious. And you know what? You're right. It's not yet working the way it should. Americans are willing to work and work hard. But right now, an awful lot of people feel there is less and less respect for the work they do. and less respect for them, period. Democrats, we are the party of working people.
So this is a good part of the speech. I'm afraid it's being delivered in a not stellar way.
We haven't done a good enough job showing we get what you're going through, and we're going to do something to help. So tonight I want to tell you how we will empower Americans to live better lives. My primary mission as president will be to create more opportunity and more good jobs with rising wages right here in the United States. From my first day in office to my last, especially in places that for too long have been left out and left behind, from our inner cities to our small towns, from Indian country to coal country.
Coal, finally, thank God, coal's made.
Coal, thank God, coal.
Copper.
By addiction to regions hollowed out by plant closures. And here's what I believe.
Uranium.
I believe America thrives when the middle class thrives. I believe our economy isn't working the way it should because our democracy isn't working the way it should.
Well, that's great. That's absolutely right. Now, help me finish that thought.
She can't do it.
Why isn't it working right?
She can't do it right. Watch. Let's see. Let's see.
Appoint Supreme Court justices who
She
will
just
get
skips right
money
over
out
why
of
it's not working
politics
right.
and expand
Wait.
voting rights, not restrict them.
She's talking about Citizens United.
I'm sure that's what she's talking about.
That's great. That's what you want her to say.
That's the whole problem.
We will pass a constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United.
Great.
Okay,
That's good.
okay.
Great.
It's not far enough.
I know,
That just
but
gets us back to the shitty situation
That's pretending
we're in.
that's.
I know,
still
but it's
something.
great progress hearing it
Corporations
from
that
her.
have gotten so much from our country should be just as patriotic in return.
No, that's
Many
ridiculous.
of them are, but too many aren't. It's wrong to take tax breaks with one hand and give out pink slips with the other.
I know, but it misunderstands the problem to
And I believe
frame it
Wall
as
Street
patriotism.
can never, ever be allowed to wreck Main Street again.
I mean, Wall Street repped you during this election. They're there with you.
Yeah. So
And I believe in science.
They're now chanting walk the walk.
I believe climate change is real and that we can save our planet while creating millions of good-paying clean energy jobs. I believe that when we have millions of hard-working immigrants contributing to our economy, it would be self-defeating and inhumane to try to kick them out. Comprehensive immigration reform will grow our economy and keep families together, and it's the right thing to do. So,
I believe that we can win.
Whatever party you belong to, or if you belong to no party at all, if you share these beliefs, this is your campaign. If you believe that companies should share profits, not pad executive bonuses, join us. If you believe the minimum wage should be a living wage and no one working full-time should have to raise their children in poverty, join us. If you believe that every man, woman, and child in America has the right to affordable health care, join us. If you believe that we should say no to unfair trade deals, that we should stand up to China, that we should support our steel workers and auto workers and homegrown manufacturers, then join us.
contrasted with the authenticity
If
of.
you believe we should expand Social Security and protect a woman's right to make her own health care decisions, then join us.
You know,
All
she
right.
wants to repeal the Hyde Amendment.
What was the Hyde
Yeah.
Amendment?
The Hyde Amendment prevents
yes.
Medicaid for paying for abortions.
Yes.
she's gonna-
She wants to
If
repeal
you
it.
believe that your working
So that's bold,
mother,
that's great.
That's super
wife,
bold.
sister, or
Yeah.
daughter
Like, you couldn't have discussed that 10
deserves
years ago.
equal
Yeah.
pay.
I don't know how you pass it
Join
now.
us.
I wish they'd show Bernie again.
That's how we're going to make sure this economy works for everyone, not just those at the top. Now, you didn't
That's
hear
how?
any of this, did you, from Donald Trump at his convention?
Well, he didn't talk about any policy ideas.
He spoke for 70 odd
Torture's a
minutes,
policy,
and
I
I
guess.
do mean odd.
You don't have to speak as long, just letting you know.
And he offered 0 solutions.
That's
but we
right.
already know he doesn't believe these things. No wonder he doesn't like talking about his plans. You might have noticed I love talking about mine. In my first 100 days, we will work with both parties to pass the biggest investment in new, good-paying jobs since World War II. Jobs in manufacturing, clean energy, technology and innovation, small business and infrastructure. If we invest in infrastructure now, we'll not only create jobs today, but lay the foundation for the jobs of the future. And we will also transform the way we prepare our young people for those jobs. Bernie Sanders and I will work together to make college tuition free for the middle class and debt free for all.
I like that she's implying that it's not just he influenced it, but that he's going to be a part of it.
We will also liberate millions of people who already have student debt.
You're right, John. That was a really good touch.
It's just not right that Donald Trump can ignore his debts and students and families can't refinance
Yes,
their
good
debts.
framing. Nice job. Good framing.
And something we don't say often enough, sure, college is crucial, but a 4-year degree should not be the only path to a good job. We will help more people learn a skill or practice a trade and make a good living doing it. We will give small businesses like my dad's a boost, make it easier to get credit. Way too many dreams die in the parking lots of banks. In America, if you can dream it, you
Like
should
Bernie
be able
Sanders'
to
dream.
build it.
It died in
Oh,
a parking
I see
lot
what
of
you're saying.
a bank that
And
she
we
attended.
will help you balance family and work. And you know what? If fighting for affordable childcare and paid family leave is playing the woman card, then
Deal me in. This speech is a little painting by numbers.
Yeah. Well, she's not an ad-libber. I mean, that's probably the best that she can hope for.
Now here's the other
I
thing.
hope she says
Best
we're,
hits.
the colors that matter are red, white, and blue, not black, white. Well, if she says that, I'll vote for her.
Now, we're not
Will
only
you be with her?
We're not
I'll be
only
with her.
going to make all of these investments, we're going to pay for every single one of them. And here's how.
Ow.
Wall Street, corporations, and the super rich are going to start paying their fair share of taxes.
Oh, wow. Wow. Get the F. Wink, wink.
This
Wink,
is not
wink.
because we resent success, but when more than 90% of the gains have gone to the top 1%, that's where the money is. And we are going to follow the money.
Well, that was a part of your problem in the first place, so I'm not sure I'd make that a
Jeez.
slogan.
That's-
But this is great. This is
Tax
great that
breaks
she's
and
saying
then
this.
ship jobs overseas. We'll make them pay us back, and we'll put that money to work where it belongs, creating jobs here at home. Now I imagine that some of you are sitting at home thinking, well, that all sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
But how are you going to get it done?
Yeah,
Yeah.
How
how?
are you going to break through the gridlock in Washington?
Republicans won't raise
Well,
taxes.
look at my record. I've worked across the aisle to pass laws and
Chance.
treaties and to launch new programs that help millions of people. And if you give me the chance, that's exactly what I'll do as president. But then I also imagine people
I
are
didn't like
thinking
that
out
line
there, but
because
Trump,
Republicans are not interested in
businessman.
negotiating with you.
he
That's
must know
right.
something about the economy.
Yes.
Republicans are interested in getting
Well,
what they want, and
let's
once
take
they
a
don't get what they
closer
want,
look,
they do
shall
not
we?
work with you. We need someone who's going
In
to be a
Atlantic
fighter.
City, 60 miles from here,
There's
you
a
will
WikiLeaks
find
banner in the-
contractors and small
inside.
businesses who lost everything because Donald Trump refused to pay his bills.
what-
That's
Inside right
Shailene
now.
Woodley.
Now remember what the president said last night. Don't boo, vote. But think of this. People who did the work and needed the money, not because he couldn't pay them, but because he wouldn't pay them. He just stiffed them. And you know that sales pitch he's making to be president? Put your faith in him and you'll win big. That's the same sales pitch he made to all those small businesses. Then Trump walked away and left working people holding the bag. He also talks a big game about putting America first. Well, please explain what part of America first leads him to make Trump ties in China, not Colorado, Trump suits in Mexico, not Michigan, Trump furniture in Turkey, not Ohio, Trump picture frames in India, not Wisconsin. Donald Trump says he wants to make America great again. Well, he could start by actually making things in America again.
Yeah,
That's a good line.
That's a good line.
That's a good line.
I didn't like that dig at Turkey for no reason. I mean,
You mind the
it
India
turns
one.
out
Everybody's got to eat.
I didn't know we made furniture in Turkey.
The
Who knew
choice
that? I knew we made
we
hazelnuts.
face in this election
Yeah.
is just as stark when it comes to our national security.
God,
Oh, I wonder what they're chanting right now.
You know, anyone reading the news can see the threats and turbulence we face, from Baghdad to Kabul to Nice and Paris and Brussels, from San Bernardino to Orlando. We're dealing with determined enemies that must be defeated. So it's no wonder that people are anxious.
Named enemies.
and
Named
looking
enemies.
for reassurance.
You gotta
looking
name 'em.
for
You can't beat 'em if you don't
steady
name 'em.
leadership,
Gotta name 'em.
wanting a leader who understands we are stronger when we work with our allies around the world and care for our veterans here at home.
We gotta end this speech. It's too long.
Keeping our nation safe and honoring the people who do that work will be my highest priority. I'm proud that we put a lid on Iran's nuclear program without firing a single shot.
Yes, you should be proud
That's
of
good.
that.
Now we have to enforce it, and we must keep supporting Israel's security.
That whole talk about enforcing it, it's both true and a
I'm
little
proud
worrisome
that we
if
shape
she's going to
a
start getting
global
hawkish with
climate
Iran and
agreement.
enforcing it.
Now we have to hold every country accountable to their commitments, including ourselves.
This must
There's
be the
still a
chant
good
of Warhawk or something.
To stand by our allies in NATO against any threat they face, including from Russia.
That's a good line. Direct counter to Trump.
I've laid out
Damn,
my
there's gonna be some more
strategy
hacking
for
going
defeating
on.
ISIS. We will strike their sanctuaries from the air, and support local forces taking them out on the ground. We will surge
Oh, she said
our
ISIS.
intelligence
Oh, it's
so
solved.
we detect and prevent
Oh,
attacks
thank
before
God.
they
She
She
happen.
didn't say radical Islamic
We will
terrorism.
disrupt
though.
their efforts online
Oh,
to
shoot,
reach
it's
and
back to not
radicalize
solved.
young
Yeah.
people in our country.
We're getting closer, though.
It won't be easy or quick, but make no mistake, we will prevail. Now, Donald Trump says, and this is a quote, "I know more about ISIS than the generals do."
So
That is
stupid.
pretty funny.
No, Donald, you don't.
Got him.
Can you imagine those generals having to do what they do under Donald Trump after he says something like that?
Yeah. Look, the generals report to the president.
He
The
thinks-
president's in charge.
He
But
thinks he knows more than our military because
should listen
he
a little
claimed
bit.
our armed forces are a disaster. Well, I've had the privilege to work closely with our troops and our veterans for many years, including as a senator on the Armed Services Committee, and I know how wrong he is. Our military is a national treasure. We entrust our commander-in-chief to make the hardest decisions our nation faces, decisions about war and peace, life and death.
You know the line they
A
should
president
use?
should respect
Support the troops.
men and women
Well,
who risk their lives
like
to
it back in the
serve
day.
our country.
I know, but you turn it around on them.
To people watching her speech and Trump's, she's clearly just infinitely more presidential. For people who don't watch
Including-
politics a lot, that can
Including
stand out.
Captain Khan and the sons of Tim Kaine and Mike Pence, both Marines.
Captain Khan sounds badass.
So just ask yourself,
And the poor kid passed
Or
away,
delicious.
right?
Donald
But
Trump has the temperament
But-
to be commander-in-chief?
no.
Donald Trump can't even handle the
He
rough
doesn't.
and
He
does
tumble of a
not.
presidential campaign.
He's winning right now, though,
He
so that's a little bit of
loses
a
his
problem.
cool at the slightest provocation. When he's gotten a tough question from a reporter, when he's challenged in a debate, when he sees a protester at a rally. Imagine,
This is what you like.
if you dare, imagine him in the Oval Office facing
Yes.
a real crisis. A man you can bait with a tweet is not a man we can trust with nuclear weapons.
Good line.
Good, yeah.
Troll him more.
Yeah.
Troll him more.
He just put down Twitter like, oh shit, she got me.
I can't put it.
No, he can't
I
help
can't
himself.
put it any better than Jackie Kennedy did.
That's right, and
after
he'd be like,
the
"Oh,
Cuban
goddamn it, I'm
Missile
gonna do it again."
Crisis. She said that what worried President Kennedy during that very dangerous time was that a war might be started, not by big men with self-control and restraint, but by little men, the ones moved by fear and pride.
With little hands.
Oh, that's pretty
Tiny,
good.
tiny
Little
hands.
men with fear and pride.
Like little men.
That
America's
is Trump in a
doesn't come
nutshell.
From lashing out, it relies on smarts, judgment, cool resolve, and the precise and strategic application of power. And that's the kind of commander-in-chief I pledge to be.
You're getting into it now.
And if we're serious about keeping our country safe,
I am.
we also can't afford to have a president who's in the pocket of the gun lobby.
Oh.
It is amazing, by the way, how many of the speakers have just openly attacked the NRA.
Yeah, that
Like
is a good
4 years
yeah,
ago-
that's good
I'm
news.
not here to repeal the Second Amendment. I'm not
I'm going to
here
do that later.
to
Yeah,
take
sure.
away your guns. I just don't want you to be shot by someone who shouldn't have a gun in the first place.
Yes. And her record on guns is good.
Yes, yes. We've said 1,000 times that was the one thing.
We will.
Or I have that
We
she
will
was
work
better than Bernie Sanders on.
tirelessly with responsible gun owners to pass common sense reforms and keep guns out of the hands of criminals, terrorists, and all others who would do us harm. You know, for decades, people have said
gotta wrap
this
this up,
issue
though.
was too hard to solve, and the politics too hot to touch. But I ask you, how can we just stand by and do nothing? You heard, you saw family members of people killed by gun violence on this stage. You heard, you saw family members of police officers killed in the line of duty because they were outgunned by criminals. I refuse to believe we can't find common ground here. We have to heal the divides in our country, not just on guns, but on race, immigration, and more.
It's a demographic battle in a lot of ways, you know?
With listening,
Yeah.
listening to each other, trying as best we can to walk in each other's shoes. So let's put ourselves in the shoes of young Black and Latino men and women who face the effects of systemic racism and are made to feel like their lives are disposable.
That's the line that the right wing's going to hate the most.
Yeah.
I can see Bill O'Reilly and Rush Limbaugh revving up the machine now.
Let's put ourselves
The race-baiting
in the
machine.
shoes
Yeah.
of police officers kissing their kids and spouses goodbye every day, heading off to do a dangerous and necessary job. We will reform our criminal justice system from end to end and rebuild trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve.
This is way too long.
Let's put on our
We will
shoes and
defend-
walk
Obama's
off
way-
this
went so
stage.
long.
Defend all our rights, civil rights, human rights, and voting rights,
And women's
rights, and workers' rights, LGBT rights, and the rights of people with disabilities. And we will stand up against mean and divisive rhetoric wherever it comes from. You know, for the past year, many people made the mistake of laughing off Donald Trump's comments.
Yeah, this race is going to be so close.
Entertainer just putting on a show. They thought he couldn't possibly mean all the horrible things he says.
Oh, he means
When he called women pigs or said that an American judge couldn't be fair because of his Mexican heritage. Or when he mocks and mimics a reporter with a disability or insults prisoners of war like John McCain, a hero and a patriot who deserves our respect. Now, at first, I admit, I couldn't believe he meant it either. It was just too hard to fathom that someone who wants to lead our nation could say those things, could be like that. But here's the sad truth. There is no other Donald Trump. This is it.
That's actually
And
true.
in
He
the
tried to
end-
pivot and he couldn't.
It comes down to what Donald Trump doesn't get. America is great because America is good.
that's a weird line.
No, I get it, but,
Yeah.
but it's okay. It's
Enough
okay.
with the bigotry and the
Okay.
bombast.
8.
Donald Trump's not offering real change. He's offering empty promises. And what are we offering? A bold agenda to improve the lives of people across our country, to keep you safe, to get you good jobs, to give your kids the opportunities they deserve. The choice is clear, my friends.
Okay, I think she's finally
Every
wrapping up. Thanks,
generation of
God.
Americans has come together
I've been
to make
previewing
our
it
country
in text.
freer,
Oh, okay.
fairer, and stronger.
Oh, thanks,
None
God.
of us ever have or can do it alone. I know that at a time when so much seems to be pulling us apart, it can be hard to imagine how we'll ever pull together. But I'm here to tell you tonight, progress is possible. I know because I've seen it in the lives of people across America who get knocked down and get right back up.
I
And
get
I
knocked
know it-
down.
I know it from my own life. More than a few times, I've had to pick myself up and get back in the game.
Yeah, she should have emphasized that more. That's a good part of her character, that she got knocked down a lot and
Like
kept
so
getting
much
back
else
up.
in my life, I got this from my mother, too. She never let me back down from any challenge. When I tried to hide from a neighborhood bully, she literally blocked the door. Go back out there, she said. And she was right. You have to stand up to bullies. You have to keep working to make things better, even when the odds are long and the opposition is fierce. We lost our mother a few years ago, but I miss her every day, and I still hear her voice urging me to keep working, keep fighting for right no matter what. That's what we need to do together as a nation. And though we may not live to see the glory, as the song from the musical Hamilton goes, let us gladly join the fight. Let our legacy be about planting seeds in a garden you never get to see. That's why we're here, not just in this hall, but on this earth. The founders showed us that.
The earth with
and
mirth.
So have many others since. They were drawn
The Mirth
together by
Cafe.
love of country and the selfless passion to build something better for all who follow. That is the story of America, and we begin a new chapter tonight. Yes, the world is watching what we do. Yes, America's destiny is ours to choose. So let's be stronger together, my fellow Americans. Let's look to the future with courage and confidence. Let's build a better tomorrow for our beloved children and our beloved country. And when we do, America will be greater than ever. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.